I wake up to a knock on my door. It wasn't a knock on the door to our room, it was a knock on the door to my room, my bedroom. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Zoe and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, hello, it's nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I post paranormal and spooky videos to my channel every week, and I would love for you to subscribe if you have not already. If you are returning and you are a subscriber, welcome back. It's nice to see you. We are going to get into some stuff today. I would like to just make known that my dog is here and he will not leave me alone, which I love, but at the same time he's quite noisy. So if you do hear some racket in the background, that is likely what you are hearing. Just putting that out there. So if you haven't yet watched my haunted college experience video part 1, I'll put a link to it in the description down below. Make sure you give that a good watch before you start this video. This is going to be the second part to a short series that I'll be posting about my experience attending a haunted college that was formerly a psychiatric hospital. If you haven't had a chance to watch that yet, make sure you take a little bit of time and watch that before you watch this video. It's probably going to make more sense if you watch that video. I have been disgustingly nervous to film this video and I have no idea why. I've talked about this a few times to friends and family members in the past, but for some reason today I've just been procrastinating and putting this off pretty much all morning. It is 11:38 right now. My cute little kitty cat Santa Claus background that I need to change with my daughter. And I have been home since 9. So a solid almost 3 hours I've been putting this off. I just get really like, I don't know, like I'm out of breath right now. I just get a little anxious talking about these things, and there's a couple things in this video that I get anxious just having the words in my mouth in my home, which is my safe space. That's why I'm filming this video in my bed, because it's my safe space and I feel positive energy here. So I would like to continue that positive energy throughout this conversation. I hope that this isn't an incredibly scatterbrained video, because this is the real like meat and potatoes to the beginning of this series. It only gets more stressful as we go. Okay, so let's start this video off lightly. As I mentioned in my last video, I lived on the 4th floor of residence at my college, Humber College, Lakeshore campus in Toronto. My room was the first room off the elevators to the right. Inside the room itself, I had one roommate, and I'm going to put a picture of the layout of our dorm room so that you can kind of understand what it looks like and kind of where I'm coming from when I explain what I experienced. When you walk into the front door, there's a little kitchenette. So to the right against the wall was a little table for 2, and then on the side of that wall was our fridge and our sink and counter space there. Then to the left was our bathroom. So there was just a little door, you opened it up, there was a toilet, and then there was a stand-up shower, and that's it. And a sink, obviously. And then when you walk in the front door, there was 2 doors. One led to my room, one led to my roommate's room. These were our personal bedrooms. I also want to make it known that in order to get into our dorm room, you had to have a key. And the key was similar style to like a hotel room. So it was a card key, and the only people who had keys to our room were myself, my roommate, and then I'm sure the college had like a backup key in case something happened. When I found out that we were attending this school that was built on the grounds of a psychiatric hospital, an old asylum that was there for many years. I experienced nothing. It was probably a solid 2, maybe 3 months into living on residence before I started experiencing anything paranormal. I was young. I was not the smartest when it came to decisions, being 19 years old. And even to this day, I think that if I would have been smarter and researched things a little bit better, I probably wouldn't have had the experience that I had for that time frame. I played a Ouija board. Now, this was the only time that I had played a Ouija board in my life. I had seen them before. I was aware of their purpose and what they were designed to do. I don't believe that all of the occurrences that happened were solely because of the Ouija board. However, I think that whatever was happening was then heightened and grew, which I know is common and can actually happen when you invite that into your space. I'm not going to actually talk about the Ouija board experience in this video. First of all, I've blocked a lot of it out. And I've actually asked my best friend. She was actually the girl who lived across the hall from me in residence, and we did the Ouija board in her room. We're going to get together and we're going to talk a little bit more about the experience because I've blocked a lot of it out. I know the logistics of what happened, but I want to make sure that I'm clear and that I've clarified with her so that I can have this as accurate as possible. Most of this occurrence, most of these are, I'm so like, I just want to stop filming. Like I can't even believe how tongue-tied I am and how out of breath I am and how stressed out I am about this. I don't know why. Like I know why, but I'm so paranoid right now. And it's so silly. Like I feel fine in my home with my dog. I'm by myself, but I feel good. I'm just really, it takes a lot for me to believe that something is haunted or that there are spirits. If I were to hear something, if I were to see something, if I were to feel something, I will immediately jump to a rational explanation. So for the first little bit, that's what I did. Whenever I would hear something or see something, I would say, it's this, it's that. And something important too that I want to make note of is that when I said my room is right off the elevator, I meant my room is right off the elevator. So when you got to our dorm room and when you walked in the front door, my room was to the right, which meant that my room was right next to the elevator. So when I would hear things, the first thing I thought was always, it's the elevator. The beginning of my experience actually started with insomnia because I was exhausted. I would go to my classes on like 2.5 hours of sleep, almost 3 to 4 times a week. I remember the feeling of just unease. And I would lay in my bed at night. First of all, it would take me a long time to actually get situated and get comfortable. And then I would close my eyes and I would just remember the feeling of someone watching me. But I always woke up at 3 a.m. Could not sleep ever at 3 a.m. I don't think from when this began to when I left the residence that I slept a solid night through and made it past 3 a.m. One of the nights that my roommate was out, I remember being in my room and I was on my computer, and I think it was maybe at around 11 or 12, and I started to hear noises. And me being who I am and being a paranoid person anyway, I told myself, it's just someone outside. Like, there's people outside of my room. But then the noises started to get stronger, and it sounded as though someone was moving a chair across the floor in my kitchen. That's the first thing that I thought was, maybe my roommate's home. So I opened up the door and no one was there. So I turned on the light and I looked around and no one was in the bathroom and my roommate's door was closed. So I knocked on her door. She wasn't there, and I opened the hallway door and I looked out in the hallway and no one was there. I went back in my room. I sat down and I continued doing things. I don't know what I was doing. I was in college. I was probably on Facebook. And I remember not hearing anything. So I thought it was just a fluke. I don't know what it was, but it was just a fluke. It was probably someone in the elevator. It was my mind playing tricks on me that it was the chair in my kitchen. So I decided to go to bed. It was probably around 1:30 at this time, and I get into bed and I hear it again. I just hear this noise like someone's dragging a chair across the floor in my kitchen. And I'm like, what is that? That has to be my roommate. But at the same time, I'm thinking, I never heard her come home. This isn't her. I don't move because I'm terrified. And I'm laying in bed and I'm just like wishing it would go away. So I'm nervous and I don't want to get out of bed because I'm scared, and I'm not the type of person that walks into something and investigates it. I'm just stay back. I usually freeze. I can't speak ever when I'm in one of these scenarios. Like I can't talk. The words don't come out of my mouth. So I'm laying in bed and this is going on for probably close to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of just, and it wasn't loud. It was just enough to hear it, like someone was dragging a chair across the floor. So I finally decide to get up and look because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like this, there has to be an explanation to this. This is not just, by the way, I left all the lights on. Like I had a billion night lights in my room, and they weren't like traditional night lights. They were like cool rope lights and like things like that, which made it look like I was cool and trendy and not like terrified of the dark and demons. I opened up my door and I had left the kitchen light on. I had left the bathroom light on. I pretty much left all the lights on when I had first heard the noise and investigated, thinking my roommate was back. So I look out in the kitchen and there's nothing there. No one's there. My roommate's not home. And the thing that I thought was the most bizarre is that I knew what I was hearing. It was a chair. It was a chair being dragged across the floor. I half expected to open the door and the chair be like at the other side of the room. Nothing had moved. So the table was the same way it was. The chairs were the same way they were. Nothing had moved. So I'm like, this is not happening. There is no reason that I'm thinking that this is happening because look, the chairs haven't moved, the table hasn't moved. We're good. Like, I'm just hearing things. So I went back to bed. I closed my eyes and I went to sleep. And this is probably like 2 a.m. at this point. I wake up to a knock on my door. It wasn't a knock on the door to our room, it was a knock on the door to my room, my bedroom. It wasn't a loud knock. It was definitely just enough that it woke me up. And I remember thinking, what time is it? Like, I don't know what time it is. I was really disorientated. I wasn't sure if that's what I had heard, but I'm like, no, like I woke up to a knock on the door. I know for a fact that that's what I heard. So I get up in bed and I'm kind of like out of it at this point, and I kind of walk over to my door and I'm not thinking anything negative because I don't know what I was thinking, but I remember opening the door to my bedroom and looking out and it was just darkness. So no one was there. The lights had all been turned off. The bathroom light, the kitchen light, I had left them on. I can guarantee you that I had left them on. I wouldn't have left them turned off. I think every time that my roommate was not there, I always left the lights on in case I had to go to the bathroom. I'm a paranoid person. So I was like really confused then. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, the lights are turned off. Someone knocked on my door. They're not here. My roommate's home. Like, that's all it is. So I was like, no problem. I'm good. I'm just going to go back to sleep. So I go into my room, I like get comfortable, I look at my phone, it's 3:30, 3:45. I'm like, yeah, of course it is, because I always wake up at that time. I go to sleep. I don't know how I went to sleep, but I went to sleep. I was so out of it. I remember waking up in the morning. I think that I left for class at around like 8 or 9. That night when I came home, and I remember seeing my roommate and, talking to her, and she mentioned something about where she was that night. And she very clearly said, like, she did not come home last night. And I was confused. I'm like, what? Like you didn't come home? Like, I swear I heard you come home last night. And she's like, no, like I didn't come home last night. Like I stayed at so-and-so's. And I'm like, what? Was trying my best to rationalize things. I'm like, I dreamt it. This didn't happen. But I know for a fact what I heard, what I saw, what I felt. Like I was sure of it that she was back. Like I was so sure that she came back. But no, she didn't come home that night. I post paranormal and spooky videos to my channel every week, and I would love for you to subscribe if you have not already.